Okay, so I see that our guest for today has joined us. So I'm just quickly going to pull her into the conversation. Just give me a moment while I invite her, please.
Of
We're
course. Thank you
now,
for having me. Yeah.
yeah, our pleasure. It's a special episodes. So
Wow.
we just started Reddit because in India, everybody's talking about weight, everybody's talking about skin tones and diversity and inclusion there, but nobody was talking about height inclusivity. And
Right.
somehow it's still okay to make comments at someone's height, right? Abhi if we say, yeah, ये इसका weight बढ़ गया है या ये color इस पे अच्छा नहीं लग रहा है, we sometimes do think twice before making those comments. But किसी को छोटी सी है, इतनी बुटकी सी लगती है, ये सब बोलने में there is really no hesitation. We don't think twice. We don't know that it's wrong. So it's also coming from a place of just lack of awareness sometimes.
Yeah.
So that's what Reddit is trying to change. And the
Amazing.
purpose of Inspiring Heights was that bringing forth women like you. So there are a lot of young girls, there are a lot of girls even my age who feel like maybe I can't do this because of my height. But then there's an example like yours, and you've done so many different things, right, from pageantry to
Yeah.
content creation to, of course, motherhood and all such diverse roles, and so much that goes in between all of that. So I thought it'd be very interesting to not just say कि नहीं, height is not a limitation. When people look at someone like yourselves, they will feel like if Astha can do it, maybe I'll get some inspiration from her and maybe I can do something in my life too.
Yeah.
So
Thank you
that's
so
the whole
much.
point of Inspiring Heights. And thank you for joining us.
Thank you
Um,
so much.
to everyone who starts to join in, guys, this is always something that we do in a very interactive way. So I try in and blend in your questions as in how it's relevant in our flow. So please feel free to ask all the questions that you may have. Yeah, and a very quick introduction of also Astha and her journey so far. So Astha, of course, goes by the handle of Mischief Mama, and she's been doing content creation around a bunch of different things, right across from motherhood to confidence to kids. So a lot of interesting chapters there. She's besides being a mom influencer, also an NLP coach. She's also participated in the Mrs. India World Globe International competition where she represented our country, and she was in fact a runners-up as well. So we'll unravel some of how that journey was for her, right from motherhood to content creation to confidence. So many different aspects of Astha's personality. So a lot for us to learn, and here for you to ask questions around as well. So please feel free if there's something that you're struggling with, if there's something that you're excited about, this is an absolutely safe space.
Yes.
So, with that, Astha, I'd love to get started, just by understanding what what led you to start Mischief Mama. Why is the page named like that? Because it's a very interesting handle. And why did you decide to start it?
Okay. Hi, guys. And thank you so much for the wonderful introduction first, and about my journey, about how it all began. So, I come from a very semi-traditional family. So I got married, and then after I got married in an arranged setup, and after that I delivered my first child in about 2 years. So after 2 years, I was I mean, before getting married, I was extremely ambitious. I was one of the toppers in college and school and everywhere. I was very vocal and I had my opinions, and I was that kind of a girl. And immediately in an arranged setup, it was like and I studied from Delhi University. So it was kind of a cultural shock for me to be like married in a semi-traditional family. So as it is, postpartum for most women is very difficult, and especially when you're a first timer. So I thought that I was very isolated. I was very physically. I was struggling a lot. Emotionally I was struggling a lot, and being so ambitious, I couldn't figure out a way to be inside one room for good 40 days and still do something. And that time around, postpartum depression was not talked about so much. So I was suffering through postpartum depression, but I did not know that I'm really suffering through this. So now there's a lot of talk about it, and it's very, the knowledge that you need, the information that you need is like available it's very handy. But that time around, I didn't know what to search. So I then Instagram influencers were like a very new thing then. So I figured that for this particular thing, you just need a room. You just need your phone, and you can like click pictures and get going. So this is how it began. It started with just sharing memories with kids, and I used to also share things that have really worked for me as a mother. And other parents would try and tell whether it worked for them or not. And till date, I do the very same. I share recipes that have gone like that have went that were hit with my kids, and I've shared those recipes so that parents can try and maybe it works from there for them as well. So this is how it began. I used to share all the mischief moments of my my firstborn Linasha, and then that's how the name also came up.
Oh, how sweet. That's really sweet. How did the name Linasha come about? It's such an interesting name.
So Linasha, we consult an astrologer as they do in traditional families. So Linasha's letter was L, and then we went about searching about it, and then Linasha is actually a Sanskrit word, and it means beautiful. So we went ahead with that.
How sweet. How sweet. Lovely. Yeah. So, very interesting that basically, in a way, like just isolation and this thing of I need to do something meaningful led you to actually add value to so many parents.
Yeah, and you know what? A lot of women they like take a back seat after becoming mothers. They feel that you've become a mother. I think this is the end of your life. This is the end of your But it can also be seen as an opportunity. I feel so. This is what worked for me.
Amazing. And the interesting thing is that this is not the only time that you took a different beat. You've also been someone who's participated, represented the country at a pageant. So,
Yeah.
how did that happen? Considering, you said you were very academic, but of course, like a beautiful face. So, what led you to think, I want to be a part of a pageant, firstly? And then, when you did decide to participate in it, how was your experience?
So this was not part of the plan at all. this this was something that only and only universe aligned for me, and it just happened very organically. So I'll tell you very honestly. So Mrs. India Inc. is a platform which organizes pageants for married females. So I was approached for as a part of a collaboration as a mom influencer to promote their event. And I said, all right, since it was happening in Jaipur, I said, and I was 8 months pregnant then. So I said, okay, all right, since it's in Jaipur and my hospital is going to be practically half an hour away from the venue, so in case there is an emergency, I can rush back to my hospital. So I participated, and once I went there, it was day one, and we are being briefed that now you are here, but now we are not the jury. The jury is coming from all across the world, and you are as much part of the pageant as the other contestants are. And I was then taken up, although I had, whenever I sign myself up for something, I always micro prepare myself for things. So I had all my looks sorted. I had my jewelry, my shoes, my entire look sorted according to the different tasks those that were given to us. So my looks were sorted. They were all well planned, thanks to the brands also that collaborated with me then. So, this was what happened that I went as part of my mom influencing journey, that I was supposed to promote their event, but then it turned out to be like a pageant for myself. I mean, I became a contestant without even signing up for it. So, and then everyone was so impressed because all my looks were on point. And despite being 8 months pregnant, I was able to be on time everywhere. Very actively, I was participating because I was enjoying. I was enjoying so much. Matlab, who would have thought that 8 months pregnant female would get to participate in a pageant in the first
Yeah,
place?
yeah.
And secondly, I've always been fond of getting ready, so this was like an added opportunity for me. My looks were sorted. The judges were so impressed with the drama I created with my looks. So yeah, it was a different experience altogether. I'll cherish it all my life.
Oh, amazing. How cool
Yeah.
is that? Very interesting. Some things are just like meant to be.
Yeah, this was exactly that. And one thing leads to another. So this happened, and then there is this pageant that happens in India for mom influencers. So that also happened very organically for me, and then I won that pageant very recently. So
Oh,
one thing leads to another. It was like that for me.
many congratulations. What's that pageant
Thank
called?
you. It's called Mrs. Social.
Mrs. Social. Oh,
Yeah, this is
congratulations.
Social by M Social.
Amazing. Congratulations. So
Thank you so
awesome.
much. Yeah,
Awesome. Yeah. I'm so
it's the
glad that
only pageant in India for mom
mom
influencers.
influencers.
Yeah.
Oh, but you were also like even the pageant that you won before this was just like in the capacity of a mom as much as can be. Like the baby's with you on the stage, so can't get
Yes,
any
I had
better.
so much fun, trust me. And everyone at the event, the organizers were so accommodating. You will not believe while my walk, I did my walk and I was standing at this on the stage like every other contestant. Then I got shortlisted in the top 15, and then I had to pee so badly. So they made sure that they are giving me a special exit and entry just because I had to pee. So everyone was very accommodating, yeah.
Very nice. Awesome. Yeah, that's very, very I think to everyone who's a part of this, if you ever feel that this is a stage of pregnancy and I can't do X, Z, and Y, then here's an inspiration to say you can even like be a part of a pageant full blown and even go on to,
Yeah.
like get onto the final stages of it and perform really well. So yeah.
Yes.
Lovely. So now that you've been a part of the public eye in very many different capacities, right? One is somebody who influences people. One is as a pageant winner. Uh, we do oftentimes, these are all very superficial, like physicality based places. How we look is something that we are judged on literally, especially in a pageant, but also as content creators. Like even for me, on days that I make content and if the lighting is not right or if I'm really not like decked up well, I see that either the reach is not that much or I see that people make comments that up lighting karo, yeah, So have you received comments like that about your weight, about your height, about the way that you look? And how did you navigate some of those comments through both of these aspects that you were involved in pageantry as well as content creation?
So all these stereotypes are as much valid for me as well as they are for everyone else. So I have also been hearing that she's that I'm because of my short height, gutti hai to, yeah, matlab tigni. All these words even I have been hearing, and in fact from very near and dear ones. Not that world
Yeah.
apart. So this has been happening, and about my face also. Well, even I consider myself that I look presentable, very reasonably beautiful. But then even after that, I hear comments like probably she just looks good on the camera, and she's not beautiful that way. So there are going to be n number of comments coming from left, right, and center. But the only way to navigate is to channelize those comments in a productive way. So I think this is what I did. Whenever I used to, people say that what would you like to tell your younger self? So, earlier when I used to hear all these comments, I used to react immediately. But now I channelize them in a very productive way. I immediately, whenever I feel that, there is a need that I need to vent out, I start journaling. And my journaling has been such a great way of venting out that I can't tell you. And this has turned out so positively for me that I've channelized all my energy in my work, and without the thought that I didn't begin with the thought of proving them wrong or proving them something. Everything just falls in place on its own. This is my way out, that I just went out, I journal, I practice gratitude. This is my way of reacting. But gone are those days when I used to just burst like a volcano. Usse kuch nahi hota hai. Because people are not going to change. What you can do is change your attitude towards their comments and then channelize it totally differently.
That's very powerful. Thanks, Asta, for sharing that. And I'm so sorry that, like so many of us, you've also had to go through the same experience where people are just feel it's okay to make remarks at someone's body. Hopefully,
But
we
that,
can move.
yeah, sorry, but I don't think that's never stopped me. Matlab, I have short content in all shapes and sizes. I remember doing pregnancy finds, pregnancy fashion while I was pregnant with my second born, and I have done fitness things also, fitness content also while I was trying to lose weight during my firstborn. So I've done like created content from last 7 years. My body has changed twice, it has transformed twice, and I've shared that entire journey 2 times. So it has never stopped me.
Lovely, it shouldn't also. I think people's remarks. I was just reading somewhere ki in the beginning they will all say it's cringe, it's this, it's that, and then later they'll ask you how you did it. So that's
Yeah.
very true. I think when we
Yeah, when
start,
I
everyone
look
says.
back, 7 years back when I started sharing, everyone used to only look down upon me that why am I sharing the personal details of my life? But then now when they see that, where I've reached, it's a different perspective altogether. Tables have turned 360 degrees.
Exactly, exactly. It's quite interesting to see that. But yeah, well, then you get to know who are your own people and then who aren't really, right? That's also a good thing in a way.
No, yeah, I don't think, even if they passed wrong comments, I never hold grudges against anyone because they're also growing. You are also growing, and they're also growing. Probably they will reach that level of maturity later, and or you've already reached. So they are following their path, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that they should be labeled that they are negative people or hold bad against you. So
No, I don't think that they are negative people, but it's just I think there are still a lot of people who I feel are just like, mm, saluting the rising sun, right? So I think that's where it's not very nice, but well, when we find our people through our path,
Yeah.
got it,
And
yeah.
you know, this is what it is.
This is
You
what it
see,
is. Yeah, yeah. I think we all go through. We also are like not, completely clean and white, right? We also,
true.
I have made judgments about people in the past, and then I've really been surprised, and I think I've grown as a person. So I completely agree with what you think
Exactly.
as well. Um, so now, Asta, in your journey of creating content for kids, um, it's a very interesting world that kids today are growing up in. Also, I think very similar to what we are subjected to. Kids are also out there in the public eye. There is social media exposure to social media at a very young age, and
Yeah.
we never know what they're exposed to, what kind of judgments are being drawn towards them. And especially for yourselves, that through your platform, there may be a lot of feedback coming for the kids also. How is it that in a world that's so public, where judgment is so publicly available and for kids to go and see, or for them to know through some medium, you create a world where they feel secure, they feel confident in who they are?
Right. So I'll share a very personal experience over here. So Lenasha was not very vocal, and she was, I don't want to label, but she was very reserved back when she was early years of growing up. When she was 3, 4, 5, also she used to not accommodate strangers in any conversation, and she used to be very she used to hide behind me. So a lot of people have passed comments कि तो तेरा नाम डुबारी है, and even when she was not able to speak publicly on stage, she was being judged because she was my
Mm.
daughter. So all of this has happened with her, but I've never created any kind of pressure on her. We have always figured out a way to find out her area of interest and only worked upon that. So eventually, when she started enjoying what she was really interested in, she automatically became vocal about things. She's automatically started talking more about topics that interested her. So I think my way of navigating through this problem was to not create any kind of pressure on her. Okay, just because you are my daughter, you have to be smart and you have to speak well. It's okay. It's your journey. You have to like decide the pace you're doing. Yeah, you have to decide the pace you're working at. But I've never let these judgments affect her personally. And but at the same time, we've kept working on our weaknesses. So if we know that reading was our weakness, then we started reading every day. Or speaking was our weakness. It's not that we didn't work on it, but I never pushed her I never let her get affected through these comments. They've come to her and she's come to me saying कि इसने ऐसे बोला, and I've always said कि it's fine Lenasha, it's fine, you can't be everything. You're a great dancer. If you're not a great orator, that's fine. You're a great writer now, maybe later you can be. So yeah, this is how I've found a way to navigate through this.
Thank you for sharing that. I think that's really special. That's really special, and it's a very, um, I don't know if it's a traditional Indian mom's perspective also, because when I was growing up, a lot of moms around me were all like, everybody's running in the same race. But I feel like today it's a lot about kids and their own personality. So it just helps them feel secure and not
Yes.
feel like I need to be like someone else or I need to compete with anyone else, right?
This is
Um,
why I feel that the ones who were born, I mean, 90s born, I don't know, I can say this for myself. Uh, a lot of people go through childhood traumas. This is one of the major reasons. Things like comparing kids from comparing your kids from another kids holds like a major childhood trauma. So, little things that then parents did not realize, like have created a bit of damage.
and we hold that even today. Like
Yeah,
we still compete with other people very subconsciously. And then you realize and then you start to unlearn, but it takes a while, even for us to
it takes a
unlearn.
while.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, true.
Now, another thing that a lot of mothers, so very interestingly, we host events with a bunch of different audiences. So these are typically like sharing circles, jahan pe you can come and you can share what it is that you're feeling in a completely safe space. It's like journaling, but to
Yeah,
people that you know ki they will never share outside what I'm saying, right?
yeah.
And in one of these sessions, one of the mothers said, "I'm so glad that I'm here because I have forgotten who I was. I don't know who I am now. I just know that I'm a mother. That's it. I've forgotten my identity. I've forgotten how to have fun." So mom guilt, तो मतलब हम सालों से बात करते आ रहे हैं, and that's something that even today, however progressive we get, I think it's just such a natural instinct that a lot of parents feel that way. Mother's guilt, maybe even father's guilt. Um, I don't know if you've navigated that also.
Yes, of
But if
course.
there are, women
Yeah.
out here who are going through that, feeling this way, first, how was your experience? Two, how did you deal with it? And three, what advice would you give to these moms?
So I have dealt with mom guilt so many times. Even today, whenever there is a need to go out, and if the kids are home, and although I have help and family and everything, but then you just feel like being with the kids all the time. But now it's more like, since Lenasha is growing up, she's going to be 8 in November. My entire point of working and working even more, despite of having a little one, 10 months old at home with the help, is that the kids should know that the importance of, being self, the importance of being independent, the importance of self love, the importance of, that, mama is working and she's working so hard to be where she is. So I just want to inculcate all these traits in my kids, so that in future they don't feel the need to be submissive, or they don't feel the need to be dependent. They just, they just inculcate this, that, even we can do anything at any point of time. If mama can do this now, we can do this whenever, do whatever we want whenever we want. So this is what something that I would really want to inculcate in my kids. And mom guilt is something that will stay. It's there to stay. It will never go away forever. Even when you're an older mom, and even when you're a new mom, even, in any phase of mom life, mom guilt is bound to be there. But then, if you take it positively, I think you're able to perform better work wise also, and you're only raising independent children.
That's a
This is how
very,
it
very,
is.
very interesting perspective, and um, very true also. Yeah, that I think it's just so important that kids do learn by seeing. So you can
Yeah.
say whatever, but if you're doing something else, they will learn what you're doing rather than what you're saying.
And to all the working moms also, I would only like to uh, send this message, that, just do your thing, and be absolutely fine. They're only going to grow better. They're only going to inculcate very, very good habits and manners and behaviors. So keep doing what you're doing.
Okay. Thank you for that. And to all the moms who are here, again, could be questions and there's something that you want to ask. Now's the time. Please ask those questions and then we can start picking them up. Meanwhile, I have a quick rapid fire for you.
Of course.
Okay. So my first question is, when the kids aren't around, do you do self-care? And if you do, what's your favorite self-care routine?
So I have this very set self-care routine wherein I read 2 pages of a non-fiction book, 2 pages of a fiction book that I'm reading, and then my list full of gratitude that I follow, and then a to-do list. This is what I do when the kids are gone for, like, even when they're gone for half an hour, I quickly just do these in my multiple diaries.
Oh, very interesting. Why the split between two fiction and two non-fiction?
Because, when I start reading fiction, this is also actually a syndrome. So whenever I watch too much of web series, or whenever I'm reading fictions too much, I feel that it's a very non-productive thing that I'm doing. So I then shift to something which is more meaningful, and which I can maybe learn from and apply in my life, and then, get something out of it. So that's why the balance.
Lovely. It's the first time I've heard something like that, and it's really cool. Okay. One rule that you always break and that you secretly love also. Okay, I break this rule.
So, whenever there are very less chances, because I am a mom of two and my little one is very little, so I get very little chances to watch TV. So whenever on Netflix I chill, I binge onto something which I really want to, but then I realize I'm watching something. I secretly love this also, but then I regret it also.
Okay. So Netflix and chill is the guilty pleasure.
Guilty pleasure, yeah.
All right. All right. We're allowed some Netflix time. Okay. Okay. Now my next question is, if someone were to make a movie on you, what would the title be, and who would you want to play Astha?
It's a very interesting question. And I think I would really want Alia Bhatt to play this, and the title could be Chak De Mama.
Oh,
Could be that, because, I through my journey, I really want other moms to take inspiration. If I just My only purpose of sharing the things that I do is that if I can do it, so can you. So if you keep working towards it and manage things well, I think there's nothing that you can't achieve in life. And Alia Bhatt, because I think she can bring the right kind of wit and warmth that I would want my character to have. So yeah, I think Chak De Mama would be an appropriate title.
Lovely. Okay, name's got a lot of energy, so very interesting there. What's the funniest or the most honest thing that your kids have told you about yourselves?
About funniest I can tell you. So I keep trying different interesting different recipes for my daughter, and trust me, she's the most thankless one. People keep people keep coming and telling me that we tried your recipe and it really worked for us, and half the time her tiffin, because she's a fussy eater, I have to really make sure that I'm catering to her needs while I'm making tiffin. So she's the most thankful one, and she'll tell mama other kids liked it, but I had just had the snack, the extra one, the makhanas, the murmuras, and the pistachios. She will have that, and she will leave the main tiffin like that. So yeah.
Okay, okay, got it. All right. What's one thing that people always get wrong about you?
People, what they get wrong, that I'm not very approachable. I
Okay.
think I've always been, because when you rise from like the root level, I don't think that I've never been high flying.
Hmm.
So I don't know if people got that perspective along the way, but it's never like that with me.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right. So I think those were all of my rapid fire questions, and Asta is very approachable. So feel free to please ask
Yes.
what questions you have. We did have a few questions coming in, so I'm quickly going to turn to those.
Yeah.
So Preeti is asking, what is the most difficult journey of your motherhood? I assume that she's basically like talking about different stages of motherhood, Preeti, and which of those has been the hardest for you?
So I think postpartum, both the times were very difficult for me. But it was more difficult the very first time because that time around I had very less information. I was being told things. My decisions were being made, and I was not used to that setup. So that made me go into postpartum depression, and one thing led to another, and it only got worse. So I think that was the most difficult part of my motherhood journey. So it took me good 2 3 years to come out of that situation and like talk about it and deal with it.
All right. Okay. Okay. Thankfully, there is more awareness now, and
Yeah,
people know better.
yeah.
Okay. Reva is asking, what role does fashion play in your content creation journey?
So the thing is that I've always been fond of getting ready. I've always been fond of wearing makeup, little bit of makeup, good clothes, jewelry, and all of that. So uh, even when I didn't really want to promote fashion on my page, but there were a lot of inquiries about the things that I was wearing. The looks that I created, the jewelry I got from, where I got from, all the details people would want to know. So I thought I might as well just give this information to them handy only, na? Matlab, if they are looking for this information from me, then why not? Yeah. So this is how it came into this part of content found a place in my page. Otherwise, I'm not really into fashion content creation, but then I do it when people like are really interested in what I'm wearing.
Okay. Lovely. Okay. Ria is asking, what part of content creation do you not like?
Deadlines.
Okay.
So, even today there was this brand which, like, despite of this being a festive season is anyway a very busy season. This brand wanted me to shoot today professionally in a studio and give them the edited video today by EOD. So it becomes a lot of stress with, and you have to shoot with your kids also. So it's
Oh.
an added stress. So
Hmm.
yeah, it happened. I was thankfully, touchwood, I was able to manage all of that. But then deadlines are like really, really deadly.
I can understand. Yep, yep. Being someone from a brand also, I can understand. So I guess it's just like very crazy on both ends.
It does,
Um,
yeah.
okay, lovely. So if I may ask Asta, what are your views on height inclusivity? How important do you feel that is? Like, what has your perspective been? You've been part of the content creation journey, like a big mom influencer, right? At the same time, pageants as well. Uh, do you think there is genuine merit in this topic? And where is it that you feel most impact needs to be created in the world of height inclusivity, it already being so small?
So I think as Indians, we have been influenced a lot by the content people have created around us, like content through movies, series, now through Instagram, YouTube, and people are creating all kind of content. But we've been like back when we were younger, we were getting influenced by movies more, and now we are getting influenced more by content and influencers. And so I think this is something that should be talked about very openly, and it should be normalized. And there are pageants like that. And if we talk about pageantry, if a 5 to pregnant 8 month pageant, so I think inclusivity is starting to begin. You know, so I think it all begins with first at home, that you have to first feel yourself that you shouldn't feel inferior because of your height or anything else. You should be confident enough to be able to conquer the world, and then you will find ways to do it anyway. So yeah, pageants should be more. If we talk about specifically for pageants, then they should be more inclusive. Sometimes, there are beauty standards set, and we like abide by that. That if you're a certain height and if you're a certain waist, then probably you,
Yeah.
you have a chance. And talking like, if we really practically talk about it, then yes, it happens also. I mean, there are a certain height, weight, and all these criterias. But then, I think there is more awareness and there is more inclusivity now happening after that. There's so much information and awareness, and people are very proactive. So now things are changing a little bit. But I think if you are ready to change the world, then the world will definitely change. So I think you shouldn't feel inferior, and you should just go conquer the world.
Amazing. So, all the petite women out there, if your height is something that's holding you back for anything that you'd like to be a part of, I guess what Asta is saying is don't let that hold you back. If you're
Yeah.
confident in yourselves, you can do whatever it is that you want.
And it's a very interesting fact that pageants really don't have a height criteria. They don't. If you are confident to carry a certain, heel and certain outfits and whatever the criteria is, they don't really have a height criteria. But of course, they would want you to wear heel and walk and whatever. But then there isn't. So if you are looking to participate in a pageant, then please go ahead. Don't feel that height can. And there are a lot of celebrities you'd see that who really don't who aren't really that tall but are very successful. So it's not that, just don't hold yourself back because of this.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that, Asna. Okay, as we wrap up, my last question to you would be, and I think some part of it you already mentioned, but we were talking about childhood traumas and things that we didn't know in our younger days that as women who are maturing into evolved individuals know now. So if there was something that you could tell to the 12-year-old Astha that you know now but didn't know then, what would that be?
So back when I was little, I wanted to do everything. And while even when I was in college and even before I got married, I just wanted to do anything and everything. I wanted to be in dramatics. I wanted to be in dance. I wanted to be a speaker. I wanted to judge. I wanted to be an organizer of something. I just do it all, know it all kind of a situation. I was just running, chasing, all of that. But now I think I would just tell my younger self to relax. Everything will come to you when it has to come to you. You just need to keep working, but you don't need to go crazy.
Very true. And you were like competing for everything, and every competition was like the be all and end all.
Yeah.
ये भी करना है, ये भी prep करना है. And then like marks mattered so much. And now when you look at it, I don't remember what I got in my
Yeah,
eighth midterms. I don't remember what I got
exactly.
in my sixth midterms. But at that time it seemed like, oh, ये rank नहीं आई, now what's gonna happen? So yeah.
Yeah, and I'm glad the education system now has changed so much. Especially, I can say that personally because my daughter is in IB and there's a lot of focus on personality development rather than only academics, which is a great thing. They have so many options. Even if a child is not inclined so much towards academics, they have so many arenas to explore, even within the school itself. So it's quite interesting. I wish it was the same back then.
Overall personality development rather than just like
Yeah,
किसी की तरह पढ़ाई करो. Yeah.
true.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Asta.
Thank
It really
you.
means so much that you took the time. A lot of interesting questions that also came through from the audience. So thank you for answering those questions. And again, just being so
My
candid
pleasure.
about your journey, about like height inclusivity. Um, my mission with Reddit is exactly this, right? I'm 4'11", and I grew up with a lot of insecurities about how I looked, and that came also from a place of the fact that, of course, I looked a certain way, but also how I felt when I would go into a store and I would try to find something for myself. So for the longest time, I was a tomboy because I was just like, ठीक है लड़कियों के कपड़े तो मुझे fit नहीं आते, so I'll try and be a tomboy. कभी I'll try and be ultra feminine. So I was just finding myself, and eventually I realized my looks don't matter. It's okay. Like who I am as a person is what matters. But then many years later, I met with my younger sisters, and of course, like our whole family is like we're all of very similar heights. And they were also telling me that हमें shopping के लिए नहीं जाना क्योंकि हमें ये fit नहीं आता वो fit नहीं आता. And I was just like आप लोग कितने young हो, you're in your teen years, these are your years to experiment, have fun with fashion. Why are you feeling so shy? And then that's when they basically confessed that we don't feel very confident about our height. And I decided that I was in a banking job in Singapore at that point in time. So I said कि ठीक है ये सब is just not something that's serving my purpose. So I left my job, moved here to India, started building this community of Rare Age. And our mission just is कि let's have these conversations. जब तक हम अपने घर से शुरू नहीं करेंगे, exactly what you said, right? Like it has to start at home, and then that's where that conversation will multiply. So that's exactly what we're trying to do. Bring in this focus on height inclusivity and bring in this awareness. This fact that you said कि pageants में भी height नहीं होती है, a lot of people didn't know. And when we created content on this, interestingly, there were like it just like broke open like a whole array of conversations. There were hundreds and hundreds of comments that we received. There was just so much of awareness. There was just so much of agreement. Ki firstly, height should not be a criteria. Two, people don't know that it's not a criteria. So I think these are small things that we don't realize, but people have held it in. They'll not sign up for acting jobs. They'll not sign up for even content creation gigs for that matter. So it's great that you're coming forth and you're saying, listen, I'm 5'2", I was 8 months pregnant. I went to a pageant and I outperformed. And so if I can do it, you can too. So
yeah. And specifically for content creation, I feel you don't need to really this apart from height, you don't need to really get ready every time and show up. You can just be the rawest self and be there every day. It's just fine, I feel.
And people really appreciate it today when you're authentic and raw and you're just by yourself.
Yeah, exactly. That's more relatable and believable.
Yeah. Lovely. Thank you so much again, Asta. I know it's almost dinner time, so I'll let you go. But thanks for taking the time, and thanks to everyone who joined also.
Thank you so much for having me. Yeah, this was so interesting. So, I also learned a lot of things from you, and thank you so much.
Thank you. Pleasure.